Chapter 16. The chapters on pawning. It was narrated from Aisha that the Messenger of Allah bought some food from a Jew with payment to be made later, and he pawned his armor for that. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Anas said, the Messenger of Allah pawned his armor to a Jew in Al-Madinah and took barley for his family in return. Took barley for his family in return. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Asma bin Yazid that the Prophet died while his armor was pawned to a Jew for food. Great Hassan. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that the Messenger of Allah died while his armor was pawned to a Jew for 30 sahs of barley. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, a mant may be ridden when it is pawned, and its milk may be drunk when it is pawned, but the one who rides it or milks it must pay for its upkeep. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, do not forfeit items held in pledge. Great Da'if. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, Allah SVT says, I am the opponent of free on the day of resurrection, and if I am someone's opponent, I will defeat him. A man who makes promises in my name then proves treacherous, a man who sells a free man and consumes his price, and a man who hires a worker, makes use to him, then does not give him his wages. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, give the worker his wages before his sweat dries. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ali bin Rabah said, I heard Utbah bin Nudar say, we were with the Messenger of Allah, and he recited Ta-Sin. When he reached the story of Musa, he said, Musa has hired himself out for 8 years or 10 in return for his chastity and food in his stomach. Great Da'if. Salim bin Hayyan said, I heard Abu Huraira say, I grew up an orphan and I emigrated as a poor man, and I was hired by the daughter of Ghazwan in return for food and a turn riding the camel. I would gather firewood for them when they stopped to camp, and urge their camels along for them by singing, when they rode, praise is to Allah SVT, who has caused his religion to prevail and has made Abu Huraira an imam. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the Prophet was in need of food, and news of that reached Ali. He went out seeking work, so that he could earn something to give to the Messenger of Allah. He came to a garden belonging to a Jewish man, and he drew 17 buckets of water for him, each bucket for a date. The Jew gave him the option to take 17 of his ajwa dates, a high quality of dates, and he brought them to the Prophet of Allah. Great Da'if. It was narrated that Ali said, I used to draw water, 1 bucket for a date, and I stipulated that they should be good quality dry dates. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Abu Huraira said, a man from among the Ansar came and said, O Messenger of Allah, why do I see that your color has changed? He said, hunger. So the Ansari went to his dwelling, but he did not find But he did not find anything in his dwelling. So he went out looking, and he found the Jew watering his date palm trees. The Ansari stipulated that he would not take any dates that were black, rotten, hard and dried out, or inferior, and he would only take good quality dates. He earned nearly 2 sahs of dates, and he brought it to the Prophet, great Daif. It was narrated that Rafi bin Khadij said, "The Messenger of Allah forbade muhakala and musabana, and said, only free may cultivate. A man who has land which he cultivates, a man who was given some land and cultivates what he was given, and a man who takes land on lease for gold or silver, great Hassan." It was narrated that Amr bin Dinar said, "I heard Ibn Umar say, we used to lend land for cultivation in return for a share of the harvest, and we did not see anything wrong with that until we heard Rafi bin Khadij say, the Messenger of Allah forbade it, then we stopped because of what he said." Great Sahih. Atta said, "I heard Jabir bin Abdullah say, some men among us had extra land which they would rent out for 1/3 or 1/4 of the crop. The Prophet said, whoever has extra land, let him cultivate it himself, or let him give it to his brother for free to cultivate it. And if he does not want to do that, let him keep his land." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever has land, let him cultivate it himself, or let him give it to his brother for free to cultivate it. And if he does not want to do that, let him keep his land." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that he used to lease out some land that belonged to him for cultivation. Then someone came to him and told him that Rafi bin Khadij said that the Messenger of Allah had forbidden leasing out land for cultivation. Ibn Umar went, and I went with him, until he met him in Balat, and asked him about that, and he told him that the Messenger of Allah had forbidden leasing out land for cultivation. So Abdullah stopped leasing out land. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Jabir bin Abdullah said, the Messenger of Allah addressed us and said, whoever has land, let him cultivate it, or allow someone else to cultivate it, and not rent it out. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Sufyan, the freed slave of Ibn Abu Ahmad, that he told him that he heard Abu Sa'id al-Khudri say, the Messenger of Allah forbade muhakla. Sahih. Muhakla means leasing out land. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that he heard that people were leasing out land more. He said, Subhanallah, the Messenger of Allah said, why does not one of you lend it to his brother? But he did not forbid leasing it. Out. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that the Messenger of Allah said, if one of you were to lend his brother his land, it would be better for him than taking such and such rent for it. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Hasala bin Qais said, I asked Rafi bin Khadij, and he said, we used to lease out land on the basis that you would have what is produced by this piece of land, and I would have what is produced by this other piece of land, and we were forbidden to lease it out on the basis of crop sharing, but he did not forbid us to rent out land for silver. Great Sahih. Rafi bin Khadij narrated that his paternal uncle Suhail said, "The messenger of Allah forbade us from doing something that was convenient for us." I said, "What the messenger of Allah said is true." He said that the messenger of Allah said, What do you with your farms?" We said, "We rent them out for 1/3 or 1/4 of their yield, and a certain amount of wheat and barley." He said, "Do not do that. Cultivate them, or let others cultivate them." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Usaid bin Suhair, the paternal nephew of Rafi bin Khadij, that Rafi bin Khadij said, "If one of us did not need his land, he would give it to someone else to cultivate in return for 1/3 or 1/2 of the yield. And he would stipulate that they should receive. The produce grows on the banks of 3 streams, and the grains that remain in the ear after threshing, and the produce irrigated by a stream. Life at that time was hard, and he would work the land with iron and whatever Allah SWT willed, and he would benefit from it." Then Rafi bin Khadij came to us and said, "The messenger of Allah forbade you to do something that may seem beneficial to you, but obedience to Allah and obedience to his messenger are more beneficial for you. The messenger of Allah forbade haqq for you, and he said, Whoever has no need of his land, let him give it to his brother to cultivate, or let him leave it uncultivated." Great Sahih. Said bin Thabit said, "May Allah SWT forgive Rafi bin Khadij. By Allah SWT, I have more knowledge of ahadith than he does. 2 men who had quarreled came to the Prophet, and he said, If this is your situation, do not lease farms. And what Rafi bin Khadij heard was, do not lease farms." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Amr bin Dinar said, "I said to Tawus, O Abu Abdur Rahman, why do you not give up this mukabara, because they claim that the messenger of Allah forbade it?" He said, "O Amr, I helped them by taking their land and cultivating it, and giving them something in return. And Muad bin Jabal allowed people here to do that. The most knowledgeable of them, meaning Ibn Abbas, told me that the messenger of Allah did not forbid it. Rather he said, for one you to give land to his brother is better than if he were to take a set amount in rent for it." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Tawus that Muad bin Jabal leased some land during the time of the messenger of Allah, Abu Bakr, Umar and Utma, in return for 1/3 or 1/4 of the yield, and he was still doing that until this day of yours. Great Daif. It was narrated from Tawus that Ibn Abbas told that the messenger of Allah merely said, "For one of you to give land to his brother is better for him than if he were to take a set amount in rent for it." Great Sahih. It was narrated that Rafi bin Khadij said, "We used to give land in return for food at the time of the messenger of Allah, and some of my paternal uncles came to them and said, the messenger of Allah said, whoever has land, he should not rent it out for a set amount of food." Great Sahih. It was narrated that Rafi bin Khadij said, the messenger of Allah said, whoever cultivates people's land without their permission, he has no right to any produce, but he should be recompensed for his expenditure. Great Daif. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the messenger of Allah entered into a contract with the people of Khaybar for 1/2 of the fruits or crops yielded. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, when the Messenger of Allah gave Khaybar to its people in return of its palm trees and land. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, when the Messenger of Allah conquered Khaybar, he gave it to its people in return for half of its yield. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Simak that heard Musa bin Talha bin Ubaydullah narrating that his father said, I passed by some palm trees with the Messenger of Allah, and he saw some people pollinating the trees. He said, what are these people doing? They said, they are taking something from the male part of the plant and putting it in the female part. He said, I do not think that this will do any good. News of that reached them, so they stopped doing it, and their yield declined. News of that reached the Prophet, and he said, that was only my thought. If it will do any good, then do it. I am only a human being like you, and what I think may be right or wrong. But when I tell you Allah SVT says, I will never tell lies about Allah SVT. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Aisha that the Prophet heard some sounds and said, what is this noise? They said, palm trees that are being pollinated. He said, if they did not do that, it will be better. So they did not pollinate them that year, and the dates did not mature properly. They mentioned that to the Prophet, and he said, if it is one of the matters of your religion, then refer to me. Great Sahih. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that the Messenger of Allah said, the Muslims are partners in three things, water, pasture, and fire, and their price is unlawful. Great Da'if. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, three things cannot be denied to anyone, water, pasture, and fire. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Aisha said, O Messenger of Allah, what are the things which are not permissible to withhold? He said, water, salt, and fire. She said, I said, O Messenger of Allah, we know what water is, but what about salt and fire? He said, O Humaira, whoever gives fire to another, it is as if he has given in charity all the food that is cooked on that fire. And whoever gives salt, it is as if he has given in charity all that the salt makes good. And whoever gives a Muslim water to drink when water is available, it is as if he freed a slave. And whoever gives a Muslim water to drink when there is no water available, it is as if he brought him back to life. Great Da'if. It was narrated from Abiyad bin Hamal that he asked for a salt flat called the Marib dam to be given to him, and it was given to him. Then Aqra bin Habis at Tamimi came to the Messenger of Allah and said, O Messenger of Allah, I used to come to the salt flat during the ignorance period, and it was in a land in which there was no water, and whoever came to it took from it. It was plentiful, like flowing water. So the Messenger of Allah asked Abiyad bin Hamal to give back his share of the salt flat. He said, I give it to you on the basis that you make it charity given by me. The Messenger of Allah said, it is a charity from you, and it is like flowing water. Whoever comes to it may take from it. One of the narrators, Faraj, said, that is how it is today. Whoever comes to it takes from it. He said, the Prophet gave him land and palm trees in Jurf Murad instead, when he took back the salt flat from him. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Abu Minhal said, I heard Liyas bin Abd Musani say, when he saw people selling water, do not sell water, for I heard the Messenger of Allah forbidding selling of water. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Jabir said, "The Messenger of Allah forbade selling surplus water." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abu Huraira that the Prophet said, "No one of you should withhold surplus water from coming pasture land." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Aisha that the Messenger of Allah said, "Surplus water should not be withheld, and neither should surplus water from a well." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Zubayr that a man from among the Ansar had a dispute with Zubayr in the presence of the Messenger of Allah concerning the streams of the Hara with which he irrigated his palm trees. The Ansari said, let the water flow, but he refused, so they referred their dispute to the Messenger of Allah. The Messenger of Allah said, "Irrigate your trees, O Zubayr, then let the water flow to your neighbor." The Ansari became angry and said, "O Messenger of Allah, is it because he is your cousin, son of your paternal aunt?" The expression of the Messenger of Allah changed. Then he said, "O Zubayr, irrigate your trees, then retain the water until it reaches the walls." Zubayr said, "I think this verse was revealed concerning that. But no, by your Lord, they make you, O Muhammad, judge in all disputes between them, and find in themselves no resistance against your decisions, and accept them with full submission." 1 Sahih 1 An-Nasi 465. An-Nasi 465. It was narrated that Falaba bin Abu Malik said, "The Messenger of Allah ruled concerning the stream of Masud that the higher ground took precedence over the lower. So the higher ground should be irrigated until the water reached the ankles. Then it should be released to those who were lower." Great Hassan. It was narrated from Amr bin Shu'aib from his grandfather that the Messenger of Allah ruled concerning the stream of Masud that the water should be retained until it reached the ankles, then released. Great Hassan. It was narrated from Ubadah bin Samit that the Messenger of Allah ruled concerning the irrigation of palm trees from streams that the higher ground should be irrigated before the lower, and that the water should be allowed to reach the ankles, then released to flow the nearest lower ground, and so on, until all the fields were watered, or until their water ran out. Great Daif. It was narrated from Kafir bin Abdullah bin Amr bin Auf al-Musani from his father that his grandfather said, "The Messenger of Allah said, start with the horses on the day that you bring the animals to drink." Great Daif. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that the Messenger of Allah said, "Every division that was allocated according to the rules of the ignorance days stands as it is, and every division that was allocated according to the rules of Islam stands according to the rules of Islam." Great Hassan. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Mughafal that the Prophet said, "Whoever digs a well is entitled to 40 forearms length. Surrounding it is as a resting place for his flocks." Great Hassan. Great Hassan. It was narrated from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri that the Messenger of Allah said, "The land around the well that is considered to be part of it is the length of the well rope in all directions." Great Daif. It was narrated from Ubadah bin Samit that the Messenger of Allah ruled concerning one 2 or 3 date palms, belonging to a man among other palm trees. When they differed concerning entitlement to the surrounding land, he ruled that the land around each of those trees, as far as their leaves reach, measured from the bottom of the tree, belongs to the owner of the tree. Great Hassan. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, "The land around the date palm tree, as far as its branches reach, belongs to the owner of the tree." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Sa'id bin Hurayt said, "I heard the Messenger of Allah said, whoever sells a house or property and does not use the money for something similar, deserves not to be blessed therein." Great Da'if. Another chain narrates a hadith similar to the previous one. It was narrated from Hudayfa bin Yaman that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever sells a house and does not use the money for something similar will not to be blessed therein." Great Da'if.